Good morning. What a great weekend we've had already. And of course, today, Memorial Day, we've got our Memorial Day service, hour and a half or so out on the football field. And if it's early enough that you're watching this, you still have time. 10 o'clock, we'll start the service. And Memorial Day is a time to remember the fallen, remember those who gave their lives. And our country needs to remember. It's good. And I'd love to talk more about just the remembering end of things. But I think I'll leave that to some of our folks with a military background. But I'll say spiritually, if we don't remember who we are and where we came from and what got us where we are, we're much more likely to struggle with keeping our identity. And we'll begin wondering and things like that. But if you want to look over to Ephesians, we're going to look at several verses today. Again, happy Memorial Day. And we got some good music planned, and I'm going to just take some time to recognize our veterans and hear from Brother Archie Davis, Evangelist Archie Davis, and it'll be a good day. Then, of course, a picnic, just goof off and enjoy the fellowship and the time together, and that'll be good. But I have been in these morning moments talking about people, talking about folks who made an impact on our ministry, and people who just loved and served and gave and helped, and there's a lot of people, a lot of them in heaven, and I probably will in the days and months to come mention some more. But a lot of times, the people that are very key in our lives, they're very unassuming, and we don't realize the influence that they had at the time until we look backwards. And there's so many people that have made an impact on others, and they never got the earthly credit. But I just want to say that God knows, and God is so phenomenal. I mean, he's the perfect record keeper, and he knows your influence. He knows your giving. He knows your loving. And I've got this book here. We handed this out on our 20th anniversary. It's hard to believe that was 20 years ago. And the stories and the people involved in this, just on and on and on, the people that have made an impact in our lives. And to me, everybody in here, I personally, I feel a love for them, an indebtedness to them, and it just goes on and on. And what's funny is to see speakers. Here's a picture of Dr. Bob Gray, and it was a long time ago. And he looks like a kid. He couldn't have been over 40. And you see these people and the influence in our lives. But if I could take a moment and just mention early on in our church, we were in the tent, so that was at least after the 5th anniversary. But Ken and Karen Peterson moved to our community and started coming to our church. They found us. We didn't find them. We were on the dirt parking lot with homemade bathrooms, and it was a mess. But they were young, maybe 22. Carissa was just a little toddler, and Matt and Tim were not born yet. But Ken and Karen came with a heart for God, and they wanted to grow, they wanted to learn, and they wanted to serve, and they've been a part of everything. Teaching, soul winning, everything you can imagine. Of course, Karen's key in our music ministry and such a huge help in so many ways. And Ken, the same in teaching and preaching and influence. Just that and as the years pass, he becomes more and more that North Star, that steady, consistent, never wavering. And, like in the Apostle Paul in our adult Sunday school lessons, we've been talking about people who are the key workers with Paul. And at one point, in fact, I'll read a verse over there in 2 Timothy. This weekend we finished teaching this series on Paul's companions. But he lists several people. Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world. So Demas had been traveling with Paul, suffering with Paul, serving with Paul, and he just quit. He just says having loved this present world. It might have been he wasn't ready to die be fed to lions or whatever. I do not look slanderously on these people. The battle is real. And then he says Cretans, he left to Galatia, and Titus, he left to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. And you got those three guys who left Paul, and there's others, but there's some people who served and walked with Paul, and then others and left, and then there's others like Luke. Only Luke is with me. Luke stayed true, just the doctor, the faithful doctor. And as we consider, the years in our church and thinking about Ken and Karen, they have been this steady as a rock. They've just been there. And I couldn't. There's others too, but their character, their example, their marriage, their family, their children, they are just beyond words exemplary. And we, as a church, all of us owe a debt to people like that who've helped keep our church on track. And sometimes the pastor gets the attention, good or bad, but I'm not so stupid as to not realize the people who stood by me helped strengthen me or helped give me the courage. I've never felt like I couldn't preach something for fear what the congregation would think. I've heard stories about that. I've heard preachers. I've got a good friend right now wrestling, and wrestling in a spiritual battle. He knows there's people in the church who don't like what he says, and they'd love for him to leave. And I think, man, I've never felt that. And I might feel it next year, next week. But people like Ken and Karen, I've never had to wonder. I could preach it, and if it's from the Word of God, they had no problem. Standards and separation and a holy life and ministry. And of course, Ken is a student of the Scriptures. He's brilliant. I'm thankful he's a member of our church, but he probably... there's probably some pulpit somewhere without a pastor that it should have been Ken. That's the quality of man he is. But it's not, of course, it's not just one little window. It's decades they've been here, and their kids, all their kids love the Lord, and now they've got grandkids in church and faithful, and we have the blessing that our daughter, our third child, our second daughter, Josh, Hannah, and Esther, married Matt Peterson, who ended up being on our staff. And what a blessing to have the Petersons around, and to have that Peterson zeal, that Peterson loyalty, that Peterson character and conviction and knowledge of the Scriptures, not being swayed by things. And anyway, they are currently very involved. He has, I think he has the largest adult Sunday school class that he and Karen have. But they were here right early. They've been through all the things that our church has been through, and I've never seen them waver. And I guess that's what a North Star is. All the other stars, not all of them obviously, but the main stars that a ship's captain would see move, but that North Star never moves. It's just there, and the captain can guide his ship on that North Star. And just if you haven't taken a moment to be thankful for the Peterson family, you ought to just thank God. And if you get a chance to walk by him, just say thanks. Thanks for staying true. Thanks for staying faithful. Still going soul winning. Still teaching the Bible with passion and excitement. And he and I will talk sometimes. And of course, he is the knowledgeable one in regards to COVID. You want the dirt on COVID and all the junk that goes along with that. He's smart. And we're blessed, and many people in our church have had, and we're going to talk about them, just bits and pieces, but I'm not going to have our 40th anniversary come along and not say thank you and not give honor to whom honor is due. So anyway, I could talk about them enough to cry. I'm just very grateful. In our adult classes, we have been talking a little bit about Paul's companions, and I want to mention today, it's a fight. It's a battlefield. And Memorial Day, We talk about fallen soldiers, airmen, our military, people who gave their lives. And that is what Memorial Day is all about. People who went and people who gave their lives, people who died. And we honor our living veterans, which is really more of a Veterans Day kind of a thing. But on Memorial Day, it's really hard to honor those who aren't there. We are tangible type people. We need something to see and feel and touch. And so, today we will honor our veterans, and we'll give them some thanks and some credit and some applause. But that is vicariously for the thousands and tens of thousands who died, many of whom who never even got buried in American soil. But we have our freedom because of them. But see, it's a battle. Freedom is always a battle. It's not a battle to become a communist country. It's not a battle to become a socialist country. It's not a battle to be bankrupt. It's not a battle to lose everything, because failure is a natural process. It's climbing. It's success that's hard. It's moving up and finding victory. That's hard. That's a lot of work. It is a battle. It is a great battle. And Judas, of course, Jesus had problems with Judas, and Paul had Alexander the coppersmith that did him much evil. Joseph had a problem. His brothers hated him, sold him as a slave, and then was betrayed by his boss's wife. Daniel, he had problems because his whole country had betrayed God, and Daniel, through no fault of his own, was carried away captive to another country. Jeremiah was called to preach to a nation that was in such rebellion that his nation and the church leaders let Jeremiah down. Now, there's a lot of things. Let's just be honest. It's a battle. It is a battle to keep doing the right thing. It's a battle. Paul says we have a battle, or John writes, that's a battle with the world, the flesh, and the devil. This world, sickness, car accidents, volcanoes, storms, plagues, tomato worms eating my tomatoes in my backyard, or whatever it might be. The world, just things in the world, flat tires and engines blowing up and what plane crashes or whatever it might be. Then there's the flesh. My flesh is not my friend. This flesh is an enemy. This flesh wants to sleep more than it should, wants to eat the wrong things. This flesh, it's fleshly, and that means it's not spirit. And so my flesh is not my friend. And you get the world around us, the flesh. Then you got the devil. I mean, the satanic attacks of the wicked one. And so we've got no lack of trouble. And sometimes it comes through people. But the fact is, it's a battle. If you were in Ephesians, I said earlier to find Ephesians 6. I'm in Galatians 6 there. But in Ephesians chapter 6, he says in verse 12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We are wrestling not against flesh and blood. My neighbor's not my enemy. My whoever doesn't like me is not my enemy. I've got spiritual wickedness in high places to contend with, and earthly people are just tools. The people that are around us, they may be a tool in the hand of the wicked one, but the battle is with the boss, and the boss is a demonic boss, and we've got this spiritual wickedness in high places. And he says in verse 13, wherefore, because you've got this battle, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. So he says there's an evil day going to come. And that evil day could come in 100 different forms, but there's an evil day, maybe one a week, one a decade, whatever. But there's some evil days that are going to come, and our goal is to stand. If we'll take the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand. So we can stand in the evil day. We can do right. And I'm not saying it's easy. In 40 years here as pastor, and some few years in the ministry here and there before, summers and different things, I've seen some very good people just walk away from the Lord's work. Some just got tired. They just got tired. Paul says, be not weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. We know what that means. It means it's tiring. It'll wear you. It'll leave you exhausted. It'll leave you spiritually and physically and emotionally drained. And he says, don't be weary. Paul says, don't be weary in well-doing. Why does he say it? Because it's easy to be weary. And that's where we need Isaiah 40:31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Because you're going to get weary. You've got to go to God and get your strength renewed so you can stand. And there's battles. And in these years, I've seen people just get tired. I've seen people get into temptation, and people walk away from the things of God after sin and mess up all kinds of things. And you know, if you've been saved long, you've seen that, and it's been that way since the beginning. Eve ate the forbidden fruit and gave it to Adam. Adam ate it, and one thing after another. And this man, you know, Cain killed Abel, and Lamech killed this. You know, these people, they just started killing and violence and fighting, and it's a battle. It is a battle. And so I've got on my in the other room here, I've got missionary pictures, and I don't take down missionary prayer cards. If I get a new one, I may put it over the old one, but I want to be able to flip up. So this first prayer, if I flip them up, the first one, maybe it's the husband and wife just on deputation, young couple right out of college, and then flip the next one down, they've got one baby, and flip the next one down, they've got 4 babies or whatever, and I keep them so I can remember them. And I can make fun of them. Sometimes there'll be a missionary's child in Bible college, and I'll take a picture of their card when they were little toddlers or whatever, and tease some. But it's a battle. And these missionary prayer cards I have on the wall in there. Some of those missionaries, one dear couple, I know they left the field because the wife was so sick. It was going to be stay there and die and lose your wife, or come home, and he was counseled to go home. Another one, and several, a couple of them, they lost their marriage for one reason or another, and everything kind of fell apart, and so they had to come back and regroup. Some of them, a spouse died. And there's a couple I'm thinking of right now that we support, one in Mexico, one in Brazil or Argentina, and two men lost their wives and then eventually remarried. But it's a battle. It's an emotional battle. It's a physical battle. It's a spiritual battle. And in these 40-some years of ministry, I can tell you, it is no easy thing to stay straight and to stay on top. There's betrayal. Like we read there in 2 Timothy 4, Demas forsook me. Judas not just forsook Jesus, he betrayed Jesus. And Peter, he denied Jesus. And you know, you're going to have struggles in your marriage. You'll have struggles with your children, perhaps, or maybe a struggle with your health, or maybe just today I heard about a man who's a pastor and his adult son, good guy, 25 or so years old, and just out of the clear blue, something happened. He got a disease, and he died. Left his wife and a little one, and she's expecting their second, and just in their early 20s. And the grief of seeing your children hurt like that. Sometimes health battles. Our dear friend, Brother Doug Fisher, went through a big battle. I don't know what they want to call it, a stroke, an aneurysm, whatever. And boy, a lot of us wondered if he'd ever be in the pulpit. He's been in the pulpit a little bit, and what a great guy. He and his Mrs. Fisher are just amazing. Brother Joe Esposito and his wife Mary been through the battle with his health. And you know, God doesn't say, make sure you stay healthy. All of you, no offense, you that are health food people and you eat just right and exercise and all that stuff. And I'm not against any of that stuff, but I'm telling you, you're going to have a hard time finding much in the Bible that commands you to stay healthy. Because a lot of times you can't control what happens to your body. But I'll tell you, you are supposed to do, you're supposed to stay serving. You are supposed to walk with God, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. There's things like that we're supposed to do. And I think our body's a temple of the Holy Spirit. I think liquor and drugs and smoking and some of those things are bad, but you know what? You start getting real particular about it. You're going to find that French fries are not really in the list, and maybe pork chops and bacon aren't either. I don't know, but this body, sickness, it's a battle to keep doing right when you're sick. Financial troubles. Paul said, "I know how to abound. I know how to be abased. I know how to be full. I know how to be hungry." So it's a battle. Sometimes the world around us is just a battle, like a soldier. Times a soldier, he's in his barracks, he's got his uniform, mess all down there, and he's physically well, everything's good. Other times he's in a rice paddy, or he's in a desert somewhere, and you know, maybe a bottle of water and not sure what he's going to have to eat that day, and danger on every side, and maybe wounded, and there's hurt. It's a battle. And God says that we ought to fight the good fight of faith. And Timothy, he says that we are soldiers, that a faithful soldier doesn't entangle himself with the affairs of this life. This is a battle we face. And it is a fight, just like a physical soldier in the Army, Marines, the Air Force, whatever. And so that's why in Ephesians it says, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. We, as the people of God, we have got to take a stand here. If you look, let me just show you a verse or two, verse 10, Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God. We've got to be strong in our Christian life, not lifting weights strong and not doing push-ups and sit-ups strong, but strong with God. So you and God is infusing you with his strength. At the end of Ephesians, it says that we may be able to quench all the fire, verse 16, above all taking the shield of faith wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. You know what that means? It means the wicked one's throwing fiery darts at you. Fiery darts, demonic, darts set on fire of hell. And it might be gossip, it might be slander, it might be criticism, it might be lies. And the battle goes on. But 1 Corinthians says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man, but God is faithful. 1 Corinthians 10:13. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you're able, but will with the temptation make a way of escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So we need to be strong because we wrestle. We need to be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, not our might. We need to realize that there are fiery darts going to be thrown at us. But he said, our temptations are common. Other people get these same temptations, and God will make a way of escape if I stay near to God. And I just want to encourage you, it's a battle. But it's not an unwinnable battle, but it's a battle. It's a battle that through the power of an almighty God, we can be more than conquerors. And that's what Paul said. We are more than conquerors through him that loved us. And thanks be to God, which always causes us to triumph. Let me encourage you. Stay faithful. Be strong in the Lord and stay near to him. And yes, it is a battle, and yes, it is a fight, but man, is it a good fight. Fight the good fight of faith, says there in Ephesians. We don't have time to turn there. But look, let's have a good Memorial Day. Take a moment to thank God for those who gave their lives for our country, all the way from the early colonial days where they wrote, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, right up to those people in uniform today. And let's be thankful. And pray for your country, please. Pray for this dear land. I love it, and I long that God would bring revival to our country. Have a great day, and hope you get time with your family and some friends, maybe a little time to rest. God bless you.